Kevin.
Dan.
The Beatles
Who?
were not the first band to release outtakes and demos, but they became the standard bearer for such releases as the Beatles Anthology, a book, television miniseries, and 6 CD set released between 1995 and 2000. So later this month, Kevin, I don't know if you heard about this, the miniseries with a new chapter will be released on Disney Plus. And
Well, Disney owns the Beatles now.
no, Michael Jackson owns the Beatles.
No, Paul McCartney now owns the Beatles, actually.
But Disney owns Paul McCartney.
No.
Who owns
No,
the
it's true.
Beatles? A new edition of the book is already in stores. Anthology 4, the 4th 2-disc set of outtakes, will be released as part of a reprinting of the Anthology series. We're going to talk about all that and more here on
Real Brave Live.
But first, if you're interested in anything regarding how to learn Beatles songs on guitar or anything else, click below and we'll get you access to a free lesson on how to learn your favorite songs. Gentlemen, the Beatles.
Who?
The greatest band of all time.
The greatest band of all time. We're using our member berries today.
Yep.
Okay.
The what?
Member berries.
What the hell is that?
Member.
Oh, from the
It's the South Park thing.
from the South Park program.
Yeah.
Member Beatles.
I feel like the Beatles are very. It's become fashionable to slam on the Beatles. You either love the Beatles or you hate the Beatles. I really like the Beatles. I love the Beatles. I'll even say.
You have to love the Beatles. How could you not as a musician?
But there's also this sort of like, and I always when like talks about the Beatles come up, I always wonder, were the Beatles just like inevitable? Like if it wasn't John, Paul, George, and Ringo, would it have been like Steve, John, Bill, and Heathcliff?
Heathcliff.
Those exact four guys.
He's the cute. Heathcliff
Exactly,
is
yeah.
the cute Beatle.
No, what I mean is like, what is, because they revolutionized music, they revolutionized rock and roll, they revolutionized the zeitgeist, whatever. And, but was that just going to come regardless? Was somebody just going to come up with like a riff and be like, hey, what if we did this? And then they do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anything the Beatles invented would not have been invented without the Beatles. I think it might have taken a lot longer. Like there were a bunch of structural things in place there. You had a very ambitious manager, Brian Epstein, like pushing them in ways that other bands weren't being pushed in that era.
Brian Epstein.
He changed the pronunciation to Epstein, actually.
Did he really?
He did, yes. This is
Recently?
why I would beat Mike DeProspo in a Beatles trivia contest. Because in 1963, he went from Epstein to Epstein.
So
Wow.
not recently.
Not recently, no.
Little
But
known
also,
fact.
they had George Martin producing them, who was a guy who did comedy records, and so had a very different approach to music because he was used to sound effects and just speeding up tapes and doing all this stuff that was not done in music. And
Right.
they had them there. And also, their popularity bought them so much leeway in terms of backwards recording, tape loops, all these very fringe ideas were brought into it.
Onto that, they did, well, I guess they did it before John Mayer did it, but John Mayer had a very similar trajectory in his popularity. He started out as like a boy band.
A teeny bopper.
A teeny bopper. And by the way, I never said John Mayer was mid. There's a thumbnail on our last episode that says John Mayer is mid and is a picture of one of us. You?
I don't know.
Me?
I don't know.
I think he's excellent. I think he's an excellent guitarist and songwriter.
Well,
and singer.
someone did not like you.
Nah, they really did not like me.
I felt secondhand shame based on how badly they flamed you in that comment.
Listen, guys.
I don't think they were really excited about you either.
Oh no, everyone hates me though. I'm used to this.
I'm not used to the hate, so please be nice to me.
Yeah. Anyway, so the band. So this second part here, I'm assuming we're talking about the Carnival of Light.
Yeah.
Tune. So notable omissions according to the Beatles Anthology.
Let me just say one thing about this before getting into this.
Okay.
So the Anthology 4 comes out later this month.
Yes.
The first 3 anthologies were done chronologically. It was like the first 3 years, the second 3 years, and the third 3 years. That's how it was broken down. Because the Beatles recorded essentially from 62 to 70. So that's sort of how it was broken down. And this new Anthology 4 is 24 tracks, I believe, only 12 of which are unreleased. The rest have been on these deluxe editions that have come out over the years. And of those 12 tracks, it's just like alternate takes, early versions.
Bloopers.
Kind of bloops, yeah.
Yeah, I heard the when While My Guitar Gently Weeps,
Yeah.
like a version, and they stopped.
Yeah, and I heard I've Just Seen a Face also, which was released. And like those things are kind of interesting, but it's not. I would have liked it a lot better if they went in and inserted those chronologically. So instead of doing Anthology 4, just make 1, 2, and 3 bigger. Because this is, if you listen to them in order, you're getting the whole picture of the Beatles and then these like random songs at the end. That
I
don't
think
really make
I just
sense.
think it's crazy that 2 of them are dead, and we're still getting new stuff from them regularly.
Well,
there was the AI thing this past year. What was it? Now and Then.
It's
right?
not AI. It's the machine assisted learning pulling the parts apart. There was no AI used to create that song.
So, like in a sort of an artificial kind of intelligent way to put it together.
Unintelligent way?
There was no generative AI. I should say.
I see. Okay.
Nothing was created by AI. There was AI tools that were used to get the tape hiss out.
No,
and stuff
but
like that.
didn't they just recently do a completely generative AI
No.
version of a song?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Didn't we talk about it on this very
We
cast?
talked about a mishmash, a mix-up of songs that were put together and that were supposedly in another universe.
Oh.
That was done and
Yeah.
put together as a mixtape that a guy found.
Yeah, right,
and he
right.
went to another universe.
Yeah, so that
Remember
was
that's one of my favorite
It wasn't
episodes.
officially a release by the Beatles Corporation.
No.
Now
not
owned
even close to
by Disney. But it was another guy who did it.
Yeah.
And it was
but
convincing enough.
Yeah, his name was Al. AI. Al. That was his name.
You can call me Al.
You can call me Al. Regarding the anthology, ultimately the anthology is what the band wants you to see, which doesn't make it necessarily the most accurate telling of their story.
Yeah, there was a lot of articles that came out around the time of the Anthology documentary series about how things like Yoko Ono's role was not discussed to the degree that many people felt it should have been.
In the original, like
the original
in
one,
the
yes, 94, whatever it was, yeah. And there was a lot about drug use that was apparently whitewashed, a lot about sex that was whitewashed. They just felt like they wanted to present the best version of the Beatles.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Well, of course, but people sometimes, I think, dismiss the anthology because it doesn't include some stuff that an actual biography would, right? Like the darker stuff there.
There have been over 30 officially recognized documentaries or miniseries about the Beatles and over 2,000 books written about the Beatles.
Wow.
So which one are we talking?
The official Beatles anthology.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't want to get into things like Patty Boyd. Like,
No.
who cares?
Who?
George Harrison's first wife, who left him for Eric Clapton.
Oh, Layla.
Like-
Layla, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Or unless we want that. Is this really like People's Magazine or Us Weekly that we want version of the anthology where we get to hear all the outtakes? We got that with Let It Be, the recording.
Let It Be Naked.
Let It Be the recording.
Get Back.
Get Back. Thank
What
you.
was
Yeah.
Let It Be Naked?
Let It Be Naked was they removed all of Phil Spector's strings and stuff from The Long and Winding Road, I Me Mine, Across the Universe, and
Oh, wow.
It was really good.
Yeah.
well, one other one. Yeah, there's
That's
4,
what they really wanted, right?
Yeah, so 4 songs on that Phil Spector remixed and put like choirs and stuff on it, and McCartney was livid because Let It Be was intended to be, when it was called Get Back, it was supposed to be live in the studio,
Right.
And so he heard The Long Winding Road with a female choir on it and flipped his shit because it was supposed to be just 5 guys in a room playing that song,
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Do you ever listen to the whole album? It's a totally different take.
I
when you listen
have,
to
like
it.
a long time ago, but I don't think I was old enough to appreciate the differences.
specifically listen to Across the Universe and Long and Winding Road. Those are the 2 that sound totally different.
Yeah, 100%. Anthology 4. This segment's called A Whimper.
Well, yeah, you want these things to feel like a bang, right? To be a big deal, and there's nothing on this that's a big deal at all.
I would push back on that. When you listen to Free as a Bird
The new mix of it.
versus the original mix,
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Kevin, when you listen to the original mix, which you can't do here, it's impossible. The original mix has, what was it, like a cassette
It was
tape,
a cassette tape, yeah.
a recording of John Lennon playing piano and singing.
Mm-hmm.
So they took that and then they played around it, and it sounds like it.
I listened to both of them.
Okay, so did you hear the difference? Don't let me down, Kevin.
It's the vocal production that's the difference, really.
They sucked John Lennon out
Good.
of the mix. And then they made him huge. And then also in the original mix, when McCartney, Harrison, and Ringo come in and the vocals, you can tell it's an overdub. This sounds like a Beatles record. So in that way, I think it's revolutionary.
But that's a song that everybody, like, even the most ardent supporters of those 3 new songs will tell you they're not great Beatles songs. They're fine, but it's not. You're not.
I don't
getting,
like Real Love. I like A Freeze a Bird better.
I like Freeze a Bird better too, but you're not getting Because or Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or This Boy. These like monumental great songs. There are 3 demos that weren't used for. John Lennon made 2 albums after those demos were made and didn't include those songs for a reason because they weren't that great.
They're
like,
okay.
They're fine. They're okay. So I don't see that.
They're fine.
I don't
the
see
Brian. It's the Brian. It's fine.
the Brian fine.
I swear to God, if this episode comes out and it says the Beatles are mid,
I will kill Dan for that. That is.
I'm
no,
just
no,
trying
no,
to
sir.
grab someone's ire.
But then again, that's not a hot take these days.
No, it's not.
No.
No, I mean people would agree with it.
What's a shame about this anthology, though, and this is mentioned in the notes a little bit, is that there's a number of songs that would be really interesting that weren't released. So one of them is called Carnival of Light. We talked about this before, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna.
How there was this basically like 15-minute just like freak out that was made for a psychedelic event. The Beatles recorded it, and the Harrison and Lennon estates basically said, "Fuck no, we're not going to release this. It's just avant-garde noise." But McCartney thinks it's so cool because it shows McCartney as being the avant-garde one years before Lennon was doing that same stuff. There's that. There's a supposedly 20-something minute version of Helter Skelter that's like a very slow blues. They released 3 minutes of it or so on the second or third anthology record.
Yeah.
There's apparently like a 20-minute Ringo drum solo out there,
who wants
which
to hear that?
I don't know if I need to hear that or not, but like it's just but like to me that's at least more interesting than a 9th version of Strawberry Fields Forever. One of my favorite songs of all time, but like it's only so many times you can hear demos where they're like, you know, it's just getting more of the same. I would like some of that weirder stuff, but I think that again, when you have 4 people voting for this, as opposed to, in 50 years when there's some historian that can go through the archives and pull stuff out, everybody has to be presented in the best
If
light.
in 50 years they're still finding new things and reinventing it and remixing it, and remastering it, then I'll be like, oh,
Yeah, if Paul,
okay, guys,
if
come
Paul McCartney is still alive, it's just like, we found this track with Tupac. It's pretty good.
He'll be like 130 years old. Jesus Christ.
It's pretty good.
He'll still be playing 3-hour shows without taking a sip of water like he does now.
I know, it's
One of my
amazing.
favorite reels on Instagram is, Paul McCartney gets on stage and fucking dies, and it's him performing Live and Let Die with the pyrotechnics. Live and Let Die. And
Paul
then it cuts out.
McCartney explodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would love to hear that Carnival of Light. I've actually never heard it.
It's never been bootlegged.
Oh, wow.
They say there's
so
like
that's,
5
put that
people
on the friggin' thing.
because apparently Lennon and Harrison hated it, didn't want it released, but only like 5 people have heard it. There's a guy who's writing these giant Beatle books. He only released the first one so far. It took him 10 years for the first volume. It's supposed to be a 3-volume set. He's heard it. Giles Martin, who's George Martin's son, who does all the Beatles production stuff now,
remasters.
he's heard it. And a couple of Apple insiders. It's like 5 people that aren't the Beatles that have heard that are still alive. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's one of the most like requested and sought after bootlegs of all time. And every year on YouTube, some dipshit will upload Carnival of Light, and it's just him like jacking off on an organ or something. It's not really interesting.
Which organ?
Yeah.
That's for you to find out, my friend.
Yay.
I'd like to pause real quick, Dan. I think you should angle that arm a little bit more clockwise.
This one?
Yeah. Other way. Yeah, that's better.
Really?
Yeah.
Now it covers his face, though.
It was covering his face before. Oh, it entirely covers his
Yes,
face.
that's why I had to
What
move
were
it
you
before.
looking at?
Oh, I say. Okay. That's better.
He's just trying to
job.
make sure he gets most of the shot.
Yep.
Have we bled the Beatles dry?
Probably.
Yeah,
Brian.
I think so.
Kevin, you were going to talk about this. You think that there's no reason to keep releasing this stuff,
I
right?
mean, it's like, I don't know. There are other newer artists.
Okay, but like devil's advocate with you here.
Yeah.
How many Fish live shows do you have a bootleg of or have listened to a recording of?
I have a binder of CDs that I had before Spotify came out, but now it's all on Spotify and livefish.net.
But my point is that
Nugs.
you have heard more versions of Tweezer than any sane person should ever hear. But you're still going to listen to the new recordings as they come out. Why is that any different?
Because it's different every time. When they go on tour, and I can't afford to go to every show or even two, I'll, on my runs, I'll just throw on the latest show and be like, oh, cool. and there's always not always a payoff. Sometimes it's just like, oh, it's just regular fish. But like recently, they did a Tweezer reprise of every other song of one of their SPAC shows, which I thought was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
But they've never done that before, and they probably never do it again.
We have a rule that we're not supposed to talk about Fish and other bands.
I know, but I'm just saying that, like, I understand that the Beatles stopped making music a long time ago, and so a lot of this sort of archiving, discovery stuff, all of that feels.
If the Beatles were they weren't a live band, but if they were and they were still touring and still releasing, and every show didn't sound the same. Like a lot of artists do.
Sure,
they just play it. They try to get it as close to the record as possible. Like, I'm not going to listen to the new release of that because I've already heard it. But, like, if it's different every time, if there's an improvisational element to it, yeah, then absolutely. There was an improvisational element to what they were doing in the studio, for sure, to some degree.
I think it comes back to the fact that this is a historical event, right? You've got some sort of a historical meaning to this, a transformational band that changed the trajectory of the music industry in a lot of ways. Trajectory. They were just a band,
Well, I wanted to talk about this for a second. Kevin, you have a guitar in front of you.
No.
What do you think about the Beatles musically keeps people caring 60 years after they were around?
I mean, probably a good chunk of that is nostalgia.
But there were millions of Rolling Stones fans, and while the Rolling Stones are still beloved to this day, they're not Beatles level. Like what makes the Beatles music?
I think people would argue
around?
with that one.
The Stones music does not get as much airplay or as much discussion as Beatles music.
But they're
does.
still playing.
Yeah, but that just means they're still alive.
Oh,
I think the consistency, the trajectory, the consistency of the Stones music versus the Beatles music. 'Cause Beatles music is very, transcendy, genre-y a lot.
Yeah.
But the consistency of like bands like the Stones or the Doors, or maybe not so much the Doors, but like classic rock bands like that, like helped more clearly define a generation than perhaps the Beatles did. I think the Beatles kind of went beyond that, and musically speaking, yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I always think about
Kevin approves.
I always think about it's not a Beatles written song, but George Harrison's guitar solo to their cover of "Till There Was You" has this like great diminished run that goes up the neck, and it's so unusual for the time, or even now. You just don't hear music put together that way. It's so intelligently put together, and these guys weren't trained musicians. I think there's just something about the Beatles music. Yeah, the part that goes up though after that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is just that there's a cross section of like influence and ability and nostalgia, certainly, but also I do think that the artists that are considered more transcendent, more revolutionary, do get remembered better. I remember my uncle telling me, I played in a band with him, and he said that one day he came home from school and his mom had the radio on and Strawberry Fields Forever was playing. And his mom was born in the 1920s and was like this very, conservative woman, and she didn't understand it, but the whole world was listening, so she was trying to understand this avant-garde piece of music. That has not happened since. There hasn't been this crush of the avant-garde to the populist people since then. And I think that's part of why it's remembered so fondly, because it was this transcendent generational moment.
Well, we're running out of time here. You can't argue that they made a huge dent in music history. I still think that there was another Beatles band out there, and this happened to be the band. This happened to be the four people that were put in.
That's what I'm saying. They were inevitable. If it wasn't them, it'd be somebody else.
I think it would have happened differently, obviously.
Well, yeah, sure.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like this is the problem with the music industry, and I'm a huge Beatles fan, but
I'm a huge music industry fan.
4 people were given a huge opportunity to make music, and they did it 7 days a week for how long?
Right.
In a studio all day long.
8 days a week.
8 days a week. Wow, I missed that one.
You missed that.
That sucks.
That was a layup, man.
Dude. That sucks.
But all day long, yes.
Yeah, 8 days a week. Here is an example of what is going to probably ruin the music industry. You ready for it?
Some AI shit.
But I ain't slowing down. I was born to
Is that the number one country song that was AI? This is the first number one hit to be completely AI generated.
Now, that's a problem to me because, and I don't care if you wrote that, if it's copywritten, if you copywrote that.
Yeah, we don't feel bad.
We don't feel bad for you. But, like that is a combination of everything that's ever been done in the history of music.
No self-respecting
put into a
country band is
computer
writing
and
songs
spit
in A
out.
flat.
So, mega props to the Beatles, but
Yeah.
I know you hate that.
I do hate that very, very much.
I know, and I agree with you.
Yeah. My last thing is about the person who might have been the other Beatles. I think you look at music history, like Frank Zappa released a concept album before Sgt. Pepper, and was doing a lot of interesting recording techniques. That guy might have done some of that stuff, but he was never going to do it with the pop songwriting of the Beatles.
Yeah.
And so it was never going to have the same impact.
Yeah, well, they knew that was their bread and butter. Like that's what got them.
Play something quick. Play your favorite Beatles riff of all time. That's my go-to as well.
It's the first song I play on the guitar. pretty
First
much.
thing I do, right? Yeah.
It's incredibly chromatic and doesn't sound it.
Well,
But if you listen to that song, you don't think like, oh, that's a really chromatic 12-note thing. It's on your arm.
it's stamped on my body.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cute. I did have a game, but we don't have time. You want to do a couple of the questions?
I could extend my hard stop out for a game. I
Oh,
think.
what about you, Brian?
This is a game. Yeah.
Yeah, a little
My
game.
lesson's not till 3. We're good.
Oh, I thought you said 2.
He said 2.
You
I moved
got
my-
2.
I moved my lessons for this. Because that's the kind of guy I am.
Oh, you see that? He's wearing a major league, minor league baseball
Minor league
hat.
baseball hat and a sweet, sweet mustache. My wife wants to kill me for this mustache. She hates it so much.
What is the? Is that a mug on your cap?
New Jersey Diners. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh.
Is-
I love that.
Isn't that a
name.
pretty great
Yeah.
hat too? Like the diner with the little diner coffee with a little hat on it.
That'd be
Yeah.
a great logo on a mug. I think.
Are you a Savannah Banana kind of guy?
I did not go to those games. I have friends who went and loved it. So it was very, very
Do
fun.
you think, as a baseball guy, you think it's a good thing?
It's the Globetrotters.
Okay.
Right?
Sure. Sure.
Who are you, me?
Yeah. So Beatles or Beatles is the name of the game.
Okay.
You just got to name whether it's the Beatles
Okay.
or the insect.
I don't understand the rules. Could you explain them a little bit? differently?
Sure. So the first question, it's really easy, and you're just gonna have to say if it's the Beatles or the Beatles, or Beatles. The Beatles or Beatles?
Like which Beatles?
just the Beatles
Like
or
a
Beatles.
dung beetle?
You know how you can get
Let's
specific if you
yeah,
want.
Okay.
You got it?
Water beetle.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Ringo.
Well, just a band. This has been found living inside of old books, feeding on the glue that binds the pages.
Brian.
Brian?
Beetle.
Ah, damn. Steal. 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 Steal.
Did I get it?
Wait, why did you say Brian?
To like buzz in.
That's
like,
his buzzer.
Yeah.
We don't
I
have
don't know why I
buzzers.
found that so
we don't have
funny.
a budget for buzzers.
Exactly.
You're correct.
Can we
It's
just go to Staples and get
it's-
those little...
Beetle. Cam, are we gonna just do
Sure.
back and
Yeah,
forth?
yeah.
Their name was inspired by a dream about a man on a flaming pie.
Beetles.
Together, they can roll objects 200 times their own body weight.
Beetles.
Steal. Steal. Dung beetles.
No, Beatles.
What? Damn it.
Oh, I should have had something in here about Beetlejuice. Shit, I missed that one.
Nice fucking model. Kevin's turn.
Do you remember when we had the drummer for the Black Crows on?
Yes.
And I came up with a game. It was Black Crows, Counting Crows. And then I did Black Keys,
Okay.
but it
No.
should have been Sheryl Crow.
It should have been
Oh.
Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a mistake on
I
your
know,
part.
Blew-
I
blew
know.
that one.
Yeah.
They have more on Earth than any other group. Over 400,000 known.
What are the Beatles?
Beatles.
Okay.
Does he get a point for that or no?
No.
Okay.
Wait.
Sorry.
Wait. Time out. Is saying the Beatles talking specifically about the band?
I think so.
I was talking about the genus.
You can't change your.
All right. That's
You
fine.
lose.
Fine. I'll let it go.
We can call it right here. I won 2-1 then. Yeah.
Yeah, so he wins. Well, we gotta go. Listen, this was really fun, I think,
Was it?
and I had a good time.
Blast.
It was. I would actually love to do more of a deep dive into the Beatles again.
I actually have an idea about that for a future show.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
But the Anthology 4 is coming out. I think it's a worthwhile listen, especially on Spotify. Stay away from AI music. I think it's just bad for humanity
Just say
in general.
no to AI.
But I sent it to my wife, and she was like, "That's a great song." I'm like, "It's AI." She said, "No." We're cooked, people. Keep your creativity alive by creating your own music. Sign up at realbraveaudio.com for music lessons, and we'll see you next time here on
Real Brave Live.